ladies and gentlemen, how you all doing? This is Colin Ulrich.
Strangru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, we are back with some more of that speed monthly tourney. We're on Shechedron today with that whole 30-minute time limit rank. Who do we have? What are they bringing?
Left hand side in the blue, we have Roguish playing as Panthers and Tatra, Ruber Maverick Income. Right hand side in red, we have Homayoun98 playing a 6th Airborne Division with a Vanguard Income. And right off the bat, we are seeing some cheeky napalm playing, but actually not napalm in the road.
I mean, he is eventually, but I feel like he missed an opportunity. I would have thought you would have gone immediately for that crossroads. If you can get that super early Mozzie out, then life's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, 2 Mozzies, including the recon run to make sure the bomb drop is accurate. Also seeing the recon plane from Roguish up north, so both sides have similar ideas. That's a lot of investment in airplanes early on for Homayoun.
Be about, what, like 150 points, 140 points right there?
Oh yeah, like 100 and... yeah, it's a lot of bloody points, and that's ground units which you could have. So Homayoun's going to be a little bit light on the ground. Roguish getting some great MG42 positions up. But we're seeing Homayoun just go right up the middle of some flamethrower troops to try and secure some crick territory.
Well, the weird thing that just happened here is you see the Flammenwerfer that's the southeast of those MG42s. He had a gunfight or a flame war, depending on how you look at it, with a sniper's sten, which is not really what you expect to see.
Oh, not at all. We're also seeing Roguish get onto the hill down south, and that's going to be, yeah, pretty secured, because there's not really much British troops up here. And then up north, it is steady. Neither side really pushing too hard.
Yeah, how do you feel about this whole P3 call-ins to the north?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. They're not the best, like, CQC-5 support tanks, as 50mm is a little bit lacking, but you do got 2 machine guns, and also you are fighting against 6 Airborne, which doesn't rather have a decent amount of infantry anti-tank, but their actual tanks aren't that scary. Rather, can be a little bit scary, but not that scary.
A bit of a sliding scale of scary right now, if you kind of mean. But yeah, that's a great way to kind of talk about it. Ooh, Centaur down to the south, actually taking out one of the MG42s. Will be able to take out the other one, and that's a surprisingly efficient tank right now. Usually we can just kind of laugh at the Centaur, but no, this makes perfect sense in this case.
Yeah, just a long-range fire support to get rid of all the MG42s is definitely benefiting Homayoun quite a bit. Roguish is really going to have to make up one P3 work quite well. Really, you've probably sort of got those P3s and used them down south in the initial attack, because if you can knock out 6 Airborne, there's very limited, you know, armored units, you can really just kind of roll over them in an open field.
And that's kind of the thing I was thinking about myself, is I've been looking at really what these guys are doing. It seemed like a very, not passive play, but it just seemed like a misplay more than anything.
Yeah, no, to be fair, Tatra, or Roguish, is playing with the Maverick, so he is at an income disadvantage right now. It's also at a point disadvantage at 915 here. It really does a great push in the center so far from Homayoun, which hasn't really been challenged yet by Roguish. He's just very focused in trying to, well, just plug the far south.
Yeah, there's that, but I think it's also one of those things, too, that with that initial kind of deployment, put the Landesschützen up to the north. I mean, right now you're going to see them getting hammered in 32 seconds as that 203 off-map really kind of starts to say hello. But put the tanks where the tanks will do the most good. I mean, and we've harped on for many, many hours about the evils of putting tanks in towns. It just, I mean, it sounds great, tanks in towns. It's a lovely little consonance there, but not really great tactically.
Yeah, it just hasn't really got much use for it as Panzer Freeze Hells, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, Homayoun will be able to get a very good artillery strike, and he does have the forces in preparation to counterattack, keeping one AB powers inside of their truck, probably to rush on through and pick up their remains.
Well, oddly enough, there was actually a push that was starting to happen over here from Roguish. Unfortunately, that Recon P3 goes down, and that is not a cheap thing to lose. Like, that is way more expensive than just the kind of the 50 points that it is.
Yeah. Just a decent amount of cheap firepower. But we do have a lot of Tetrarchs in this town as well. The off-map artillery strike doing decent. There's still a good amount of German forces in the southern end of the town which haven't been affected. But Homayoun will be able to make a pretty good push.
Well, and I guess the thing I was thinking of more is, yeah, it's true that it didn't kill a whole lot, but it still killed a tank.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, that's a big kill. That's a very big kill. Tetrarch also playing literally tanks at 20 paces with the P3 and finally loses, but the AB pairs come in with a Piat and it's like a broken clock. They work twice a year.
Yep. Very clutch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with that, I turn our attention down to the southern side. We hit the Landesschützen going up against those AB pairs on the hilltop here. And not unexpected. I mean, this is kind of the same kind of issues you're going to see pretty consistently. As Landesschützen just don't have the guts to kind of stick it out.
Yeah, they have really crap CQC firepower. So even just a two-man flamethrower team is going to cause all sorts of havoc.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's why he's bringing the 231s over here in the meantime. Yes, it's possible they could get freaked out, but it's very, very unlikely that they're going to go and be getting completely owned by this particular potential.
Yeah, all he has to do is really clear off that 1AB flamethrower, and he's pretty much got that hill back under control and can probably capture that one flag right in the center of the lungs. I mean, Roguish isn't doing terrible now. He's managed to stabilize a bit down south. He's still got the far southern hill under his control. And definitely long game, he does have the tank and long-range anti-tank firepower, which on Saskatchewan means quite a lot. It has quite a decent amount of long-range battles.
That's true, but we just kind of maybe missed it down to the southern side. We did see one of those Pack 36s going down, and while they're just about 30 points, they still represent a rather significant anti-tank presence.
Yeah.
What's more, also, that Recon Focke-Wulf, well, he just got fucked. And the Tempest over here in the meantime, quite pleased with doing that, so.
Yeah, and it's no anti-air.
Exactly. Exactly, and that seems to be a consistent issue. Next barrage comes in. This one's not going to do a whole lot. I mean, it's just kind of chilling over here in the back lines, but still area denial.
Yeah, and it does mean another flag does fall to Homayoun. And he pretty much has the town almost completely under control. So it's the Landschützen holding on to the last little bit of land left in that town. The Panzer III reinforcements, but once again, not going to be the best fire support here. Honestly, the 2-3 runs in the town would probably be a better bet.
And
faster aim time.
And that's exactly what I was thinking as well, is that the 231s, you put a couple down to the south, you have one to the north. But these guys, you don't want them in an open field fight. These are the knife fighters. You want to put your autocannons any single time there's a town, because then you can very quickly have no town.
Yeah, and especially when you're just only fighting Tetrarchs, that autocannon's going to be more than enough to deal with that, you know, pesky glider armor. And here comes more AB powers with the Piat trying to get in closer, and it's just, yeah, very dangerous territory for his Panzer IIIs to be in.
Well, and Tetrarch Little John in the meantime. And the Ox and Bucks, too. So, Ox and Bucks, guys, just as a bit of a reminder, basically, para-pioneers, and with the actual, the Geburtenlehrungs that you would see over here from the German side of things anyway. First Piat comes up. Ooh. Does miss, but the Tetrarch Little John also misses. So, I guess we can't say too much here.
It's in a micro back once again as he's managed to reload, bring out the Piat, and Piat does its thing.
It certainly does. It certainly does. And again, the P3L's way more valuable in my mind than a single para squad, a single Tetrarch, heck, even 2 or 3 Tetrarchs. I feel like take out the P3s, that's the way to victory here.
Yeah, yeah. You've seen down south, Homayoun has been able to bring up quite a decent amount of armor. It's not heavy armor by any stretch, it's mainly just Tetrarchs and Centaurs, but there's a decent anti-tank presence here from Roguish. But once again, the Panzer IIIs down south along the peninsula would pretty much push right on through. Or, I mean, it's maybe like a 6-pounder or 2 could stop him, but a good artillery support, like with 81 mils, can make short work of that.
I think I'm kind of intrigued by is the potential of having the 25-pounders being brought in just about 10 seconds. Mozzie coming in. Mozzie's going to go down, but I think he's bringing the other Flame Mozzie. Nope, he's not going to get him off in time. The Flak Reeling is going to encourage him that maybe he should be flittering around someplace else. And
I feel like sometimes in the summer here in Canada, I want a flak villain to get rid of the actual mosquitoes.
I am suddenly very, very nervous and shocked about the size of the bugs you must have up there that you need a Flak Reeling for.
It gets very dangerous.
So it seems. So it seems. Weird push happening to the northern side. P-Guards and MG26 is pushing back against some of those Ox and Bucks, AP Paras. And frankly, the Tetrarch Little John just kind of really isn't an anti-anything. So...
Yeah. Pretty much there's just an overwhelming amount of firepower on a pretty weak point of Homayoun's lines here. It's a very good push from Roguish. And just, you know, enough machine gun firepower is enough to get your way through all the dastardly airborne troops. Especially Panda Grenadiers of the MG26s. I mean, they're not as... Oh, they have the bloody, Gebuntalungdungs. I forgot the Pioneer ones, at least. Not as good as... what I'm trying to say, they're not as good as they were pre-patch, where they were like 20 points. But still not bad for 25 points.
Let me just say, unfortunately, this is a bit of a real-world joke, but you just lost one of your relatives at the 203 off-map. I think it was screwed by your uncle. And the Tetrarch Little John does go down, courtesy of the P-Guards with, again, the AT grenades here. And the Centaur apparently not having a whole lot of respect for holy ground. He's trying to make himself a little bit holier by blasting a couple of minutes.
That's a very good position for the Centaur to fight some much needed long range fire support. Mozzie coming in to drop some hot stuff. And very impressive from Roguish from being able to actually do a very effective counterattack in just town. He's just throwing in enough bodies while Homayoun is running pretty short.
Well, he's throwing his bodies down to the southern side, that's why.
Oh yes. Oh yes, indeed.
Some AB leaders in there. Yes, that's kind of scary, but at the same time there's AB Paras moving up. A bunch of Tetrarchs, and he's slightly mistimed the tempo of the attack. So you can see one of these guys is going to get hurt very, very badly. But at the same point, I mean, he's going to have enough Tetrarchs, he can just kind of bum rush, and will bum rush this P3, and there's very little in the way of anti-tank here.
Yep. The Panzer III's running for his life. Little cavalry attack.
He takes out the scariest piece, don't get me wrong. And now it's just going to be the Pak-37. The Pak-37 is the only guy who might be able to stop this particular push. But he's killing enough for it. The question is he accurate enough for it? And right now the answer to that is no.
Oh, a very good bombing run. Oh, misses the anti-tank gun. So it's still a chance here for Roguish to pull this off. And remember, the Tetrarch only has a single machine gun and no HE, so they do have a hard time against AT guns.
But 3 more squads of infantry moving on into good call. AP Paras over here with the Piat and the AP leader, which can tickle the pack. Can't do a lot of damage, but can tickle the pack for the time being.
Yeah. Just small volleys of the line field.
Also, I do want to call out the fact that apparently your check has arrived. It's moving on the northern road.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Ooh. Actually, guys, I don't know who's paying the bill, but there's checks everywhere here. So, 38 T's moving on in. Oh, yep, there goes the 47 mil, and here comes another flag back over here, I would say, into Homayoun's control.
I'm just thinking about it now. The 38T is pretty much the perfect counter to the Tetrarch. I mean, neither tank is great, but you have much more armor on the 38T and roughly the same killie power. So
even more killie power because it has HE as opposed to the Tetrarch, which only has AP. So
there you go.
Now, apparently, though, the Czech tanks, well, still getting killed pretty quickly here. We do see 81 mils over here for the Brits, a 6-pounder and a 17-pounder to the southern side. So, yeah, the axis of attack here is going to rotate quite a bit here to the south.
Yep. Like with a lot of 6 Airborne replays we watch, it usually comes down to effective fire support to keep you in the game. Because you need to be able to knock out, you know, all the killy anti-infantry stuff like enemy artillery anti-aircraft guns, support guns, etc. So, good use of his 81 mils. Does he have pack archers? No, he does not. He has 25 pounders. So he's really going to make those guys work.
Yes, he will. Actually, we have a 231 behind the front lines trying to be super cheeky here. He probably is going to pick up the kill on the Centaur. Which wouldn't matter since the Centaur doesn't really exist anyway, being a mythological creature.
Really just a bunch of Mycenaean Greeks and horses, which freaked out some people.
That's true. Absolutely true. I mean, I've certainly seen The Rock play Hercules. I know my mythology here.
Oh, the Cromwell.
Cromwell and P-38's actually getting in a bit of a weird duel here to the northern side. Huh. Very strange. Mostly because the Cromwells I always kind of feel like are rather underpowered, but,
It's not honestly a bad tank, the Cromwell. Like, it's fast, it's the main advantage for it, really. And it's rather cheap at 50 points. You just don't get enough of him.
Now, these Grenadier Voltigeurs coming up from southeast to northwest. Unfortunately, these guys are going to run into the entire German army in this sector, which doesn't seem like much, but still, when you have 4 tanks, a pack gun that can kind of like sling and shake its fist at you, and a couple of P-Grunt squads, I don't see these guys surviving for very long.
No, they are gonna be kind of buggered, yeah. We also saw a first Raframan strike on the southern hill trying to, actually successfully rout him back. The British infantry and Roguish is going to be launching a counterattack. But we're 16 minutes into the match. Roguish is down quite a bit, and this is his phase to really come back. He has a huge point advantage. And then comes C-phase, of course. It's pretty even. Like 10 points is not that big of a deal.
True. Now, northern side, we are going to see there's an engagement between basically pioneers and AB engineers, and actually the Canadians getting their hands dirty as well. As AB Paras, they're coming in around this P3. This is going to get really ugly, and the P3 goes down. Yikes. So that is a big loss, and yes, I don't care there's an 88 in that town. There's so much infantry that this is going to be a 6th Airborne town for the time being.
Yeah, very good counterattack from Homayoun to regain that town. And that's 2 very important flags, which he is going to be able to keep control of. There's a whole heap of more, like, Stugs and Panzer 38Ts being brought in, but he needs lots of infantry to clear that town. And his infantry aren't really up to snuff compared to the parish.
No, they aren't. But the Czechs are boiling out of that forest on the lungs. And while, actually, the Mozzie's getting... Oh, no. I thought the Mozzie might get his strike off, but no, that is not to be the case.
Really,
in the meantime.
Rogish's best, area of attack is just try to push through the south and center area. He might as well just cut his losses in the town. It's way too costly to try to capture the 2 central flags. Just try to hold on to the flag where the Pioneers and the Flak 88 is, and then just devote everything down south. Especially with his time limit, as he's going to need a pretty big points lead to get a victory at this point.
True. Absolutely true. I confess I'm fascinated by this Cromwell P-38 shooting gallery. As 2 are down already, and even if they take out this Cromwell, he's traded rather efficiently. And he's basically shut down this push nearly by himself.
Yeah. Taking those shots like a champ. Never mind. Caster's curse. I should have just shut up. I probably could have saved that Cromwell's life.
The champ is down. The champ is down, ladies and gentlemen. He's taken a shot to the face, and he is not getting back up from that. But while he has died, he has given a lot of infantry to the southern side a chance to kind of get in and get, to the knife fighty distance.
Yeah. All those engineers coming in rather close quarters. Not enough fire support here from Roguish to roar us off, so yeah, Hill is gonna flip on back over the Homayoun. He's just been doing a very good job of keeping up that momentum. I mean, he loses up north, he pushes down south, he loses south, he pushes north. Exactly what you need to be doing. Neither side really has been getting into that much of a tunnel vision. They've been very dynamic.
Well, that's part of it, but I was also going to say here, too, that his infantry-based AT has been surprisingly workable. Like, we make fun of the Piats, as well, you all know, but he's had marauding Piats the entire time, and frankly, in my mind, he's done exactly what you should be doing, which is, especially with paratroopers, you've got to be flexible. You cannot have a stand-up fight very often or easily.
Yeah. And also just good use of the limited air power here. The few Mozzies and other bombers coming in have been quite useful. And I had another point I wanted to say, but I completely forgot now. I'm quite annoyed.
Well, while you're annoyed, I must have to note up to the northern town, there has been a rather hefty shove coming in here, and you can see 5, 6 new squads of infantry on top of what's already there. So you're right. He's being aggressive with it. You know, he's saying, "Screw you, man. I'm taking my losses, and I'm gonna, I'm sticking it out." Which you have to go and be just a little bit impressed by.
Yeah.
We missed a second Rahmen strike, by the way. I think we target the southern hill one more time. Maybe not. I'm not sure.
More infantry and just stuff being brought into that southern hill around C phase now, so the incomes have slowed down quite a bit, but definitely in the Homayoun's favour, because he just needs to really defend for a little bit to take the victory. So we've seen Roguish just deploy a massive, even some SS Storm Grenadiers up north to try and just clear through that town.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating decision. And that's probably the only way I can really kind of put it. Damo Littlejohn's being called out in braces to kind of go and really solidify control of the southern side, as well as the central. I think for me, I probably would have been a little more aggressive in putting them to the north. But maybe he knows there's a giant stream of reinforcements, and he kind of says, screw it, I don't know.
Yeah, and infantry's coming in, but they're getting picked off in their transports. Not good micro here at all from Roguish. I just counted. He's lost 3 infantry squads before they can jump out of their awful blitches.
Yep, and not cheap ones either. 4.
Oh, 4. Jeez. No, press the unload button, please, for the love of God.
Just hammer your face on the keyboard. Statistically, you should be able to hit the U button.
Yes.
And the P-Guns are out, even with their, wussy little weird MGs. They're Czech MGs. Yeah, I'm not sure that I like this anymore. There was a potential that could have been ruptured the line, really kind of been scary. But 2 more squads of Paris, 4 more squads of Paris being sent into the central position. They're getting picked up and cleaned off, and a lot of these bulges, yes, they are scary, but you can just tell just because the Germans are happy to see them.
Yeah, losing half of your infantry reinforcement column before they can even get out the transports is not ideal circumstances, I would have to say.
No, certainly not. I mean, theoretically, you want your bulge to last at least a couple hours.
If it lasts too long, go see a doctor.
Also very, very true. Machine gun battery survives just barely.
I've also noticed that Homayoun has not unloaded his 3-inch mortars in feels like 10 minutes. I think he completely forgot about him.
I think it's more one of those things he's just on a suggestion. It's like if the 25-pounder, the 25-pounder is going to engage those machine guns. So it's a curious decision for sure. And I think right now, the question is, can this push be contained to pick up even a tiny bit of territory for the 6th Airborne? Or do we have a bridge too far situation wherein, well, the Brits just overextended? And I truly don't know which way to go at this point.
Yeah, like down south, I feel like I'd be able to just barely hold on. The AB engineers coming in. But it doesn't really matter at this point. I mean, Homayoun pretty much has the victory.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, he's got the 1311 now, because he will be able to pick up a couple of small things here and there. Is it Pack 40? Okay, yeah, Pack 40 is engaged in the 6-pounder. So, yeah, he can stall this out. It's not a big deal unless there is some crazy nonsense that goes on. There's no way in heck they can reverse the other direction.
Yeah, and a very good Tempest strike on the Pack 40. Now, as AB engineers once again to CQC start throwing some satchel charges. They don't mess about.
Oh, I'm watching Northern Town as Panzerschrecks and Landesschützen and Pigrens and all of these guys come charging on in. And I just want to kind of watch as the Grenadiers toss the gammon bombs.
Once again, getting way too ballsy with his infantry pushes.
And somehow the gamma bombs completely whiff. But, once more to the breach, dear friends, once more.
Yep. He's got more
And
land shooting to get shot over the land.
yeah, it's true. That's true. They are living up to the name. Land shot, guys.
And the Rough Rammon's also going in hot. It's bad when the Rough Rammon's given machine gun fire support.
Yeah, that feels a little bit 40k at that point. That's being like, okay, we've used all our ammunition. Okay, guys, time to get real life for the Fuhrer. Let's go. And he does go down. Now, northern side here, in fact, even the middle, I was going to make a quick call out. The lung has collapsed over here for the blue. Which is a weird sentence to kind of say when you think about it. But between, Centaur getting 86 by the flak gun and the Cromwell being able to focus it down in the meantime. So, once this goes down, I would be surprised if we see anything but tears from Roguish.
Yeah, it's a very good Cromwell flank here, and the infantry just don't have the anti-tank capabilities to do anything about it. So, here we go, Roguish taps out, and that is a GG.
Justifiable one. I mean, we are seeing about 1,100 between the two. So, not being blown out per se, but at the same time, it felt like it was a little bit more one-sided than it probably ended up being.
Yeah, I mean, both players honestly played it very well, including Roguish, even though he didn't manage to put any points on the scoreboard. He was, doing counterattacks. Both players were playing all sides of the map. It says Homayoun was, a couple steps ahead in regard to, leading the momentum and, distracting Roguish and different flanks. And also Roguish just did some poor micromanagement choices, such as the Opal Blitzes, maybe Panzer IIIs down south at the start would have been a bit better, and just a few minor choices like that.
True. But if you look at the kills over here in the meantime, you have to look at Bedford and say, what a good job, and you have to respect your elder. But a lot of light tanks, heck, even that 6-pounder underneath it, Barnsley doing very, very well for himself. But as far as the 6 goes, those Red Devils certainly took their fair share. And losses in the meantime, 231. I feel like, again, 231s could have been so killy in that, and unfortunately, they just were not given the opportunity.
Yeah. A shame.
A shame indeed, but well fought and well won, honestly. So well done, Homayoun, and unfortunately, next time Roguish will go from there. Indeed. Any final thoughts, sir?
Not today.
Well, folks, in that case, then, come back another day to hear other thoughts that Rang has about life, the universe, and everything. But until then, I'm Conalberg.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.